The dust has finally settled for National Signing Day for the most part. But after all the craziness, all the unexpected moves that went down, all the money that's being thrown around, let's take a look at who the biggest winners and losers are from the day. The first obvious one is the team that came into the day with the best class and finishes with the best class, that being Alabama. Their grouping, no major moves went on during National Signing Day, but they far and away finished with a massive, massive haul of talented five-star players, far more than any other program in the top five rankings. I look at the fact that they're able to pull the top safety in Caleb Downs, the best edge rusher, and arguably the best player in the entire class in Keon Keeley. And then they managed to flip Caden Proctor, the previous Iowa commit, massive hulking tackle, super, super talented, and has potential to maybe start right away or as a redshirt freshman. They also have some other big names in Qua Rousseau, Justice Haynes, and Jaleel Hurley. Massive grouping of players that they were able to pull for this year's signing day class in a year where Alabama had a bit of a down year, and Nick Saban is reloading and getting ready for another national championship run. The other one that was getting a lot of buzz was Oregon. Now, they managed to fit where they do because of all of the big name commits that they pulled off on National Signing Day and a number of transfers that announced that they are going to be playing for the Ducks next season. The one thing that needs to be alluded to here, this could be updated by the time this video is posted, by the time you are watching this video. Everyone was talking about how Peyton Bowen decommitted from Notre Dame and decided to go to Oregon. That is not finalized. His national letter of intent was not signed or sent in. And right now, it sounds like he might be going to Oklahoma. He has not officially decided if he's going to Oregon. So, for the sake of this argument, I am not including Peyton Bowen. We'll know eventually what's going to happen, but there is a lot of smoke up in the air with a lot of speculation. And for the most part, most experts believe that Peyton Bowen might be going to Oklahoma. Separate from that, they were able to get Jurian Dickey, who was committed ahead of time, but on signing day, they pulled Mateo Uiagalelei, who is DJ Uiagalelei's little brother. Really dominant defensive end prospect who could very well play as a five technique on the inside, but is going to be a massive staple on that Dan Lanning Oregon defense. A guy that is going to follow in the lineage of talented Oregon defenders that we've seen in the past. Now, the other reason why I'm a big fan of what Oregon did during this recruiting cycle is not just because of those big name National Signing Day gets that they got of incoming freshmen. It's also because of some of the massive transfers that they were able to pull leading up to the day and also during National Signing Day. The first one is a kid who played at my alma mater, Johnny Cornelius, super talented offensive lineman transfer who looked really, really good this year at Rhode Island. And on top of that, as soon as he hopped in the portal, this really athletic tackle pulled so many offers, and Oregon ends up getting him a guy that's going to step in, start right away, and has plenty of eligibility remaining. They also had a nice haul of some of the Alabama players that hopped in the portal, including Trayshawn Holden and Kyrie Jackson. But one that I think is going a bit under the radar is pulling Justin Jacobs, a really nice coverage linebacker from Iowa, very athletic, very fluid athlete, that if he has a strong year next year, Ian Dan Lanning's defense could go on to be a very highly drafted kid because of his traits. And frankly, for the most part, was relatively misused and not used enough at Iowa. So this is a perfect opportunity for him. Now, if we're talking about losers, as a Notre Dame fan, it does need to be addressed, and I'm throwing them in there as a loser because at the beginning of the week and last week, they were a top 5 team in the class, and they finished 9th per 247 Sports, a massive tumble that they ended up taking because of losing a couple of players that decommitted at the last second. The main one that hurt them the most was Peyton Bowen. And again, for the most part, a lot of indecisiveness from Bowen on where he's actually going to play. That obviously hurts the Irish. The one thing I will say, and this is me trying not to be a homer, I think there are still a lot of positives to be taken away from the class. They did still grab a number of talented players, top-ranked players, including Charles Jagasaw, Jeremiah Love. They also have 20 four-star commits in this class. So it's a really good grouping for Notre Dame and one of the best classes that Notre Dame has seen in a long time. They just are unable to pull a talented five-star safety in Peyton Bowen, which ultimately could hurt them down the line, but still, again, a really good grouping. The last one, I'm trying not to let my homerism step into play here, but USC had a fairly underwhelming day. They did pull three five-star recruits in Malachi Nelson, Zachariah Branch, Nelson a quarterback, Zachariah Branch a wide receiver, and then also Maki Lemon, who is another talented wide receiver prospect. The thing that concerns me is that they lost out on Ui Unglele, who was right in their backyard and playing at St. John Bosco, which is very, very close to USC, and they lost him all the way to Oregon. That is something that Lincoln Riley was supposed to prevent from happening. He was supposed to come in and keep all the local guys home, keep all the California guys in the state. That is what is going to help USC develop and grow, is keeping those guys from going elsewhere. Now, it's one thing if those guys pick UCLA, but to decide to go completely out of the state and go all the way to Eugene, Oregon, that's not a great sign for Lincoln Riley. I'm sure he's going to be fine, but overall, the fact that there is an overemphasis on recruiting offensive players and a lack of ability to pull some of these key defensive prospects that they did not get should be a concern for USC fans. I know this is Lincoln's first recruiting class, and for the most part, he's a transfer portal guy. I'm sure that he's going to pull a rabbit out of his hat and get some of the best remaining players on the transfer portal market right now, but still cause for some concern. If you think I'm missing a team, maybe you agree with me, drop a comment below and let me know. We'll be back with a full recap on the first team on this channel with Ryan Roberts and Matt Sims, so stay tuned for that.